Love people more than you love cars. That's ASOTU's game-changing motto, and today we're pulling back the curtain on what it really means.
These two industry rebels take us on a wild ride, from business for dummies to ice cream-fueled brainstorms at Ben & Jerry's, which sparked a vision beyond the sales lot.
We're diving deep into the story of more than cars, a mission to inspire, unify, and bring humanity back to the heart of the car business.
They're not just building a brand, they're redefining what it means to be an automotive, one authentic story at a time.
Hang on to your hats, because this episode is going to get wild. Buckle up for another unforgettable ride on the Driving Relationships podcast.
Three, two, one.
Quiet on the set. Pick 73.
Man, so you guys have been in town here for a couple days now, just kind of hanging out, knowing what we're about. We want to hear what
we didn't even know you guys were in this area. We just were like, let's go to Lafayette.
We got lucky. We got super lucky.
we know
it was
them.
crazy.
No
Yeah, we
plans.
just started driving up. What is it, 65?
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
you guys are vets. It's like you actually live here now.
Yeah, exactly.
65.
And then you pulled a Nissan right in front of the dealership.
Just
I want to
straight
know
up
what
in
that
front
was
of-
about.
We had a Nissan and a Hyundai just rolled right up in front of a Toyota
So pretty
dealership.
aggressive. You
Like-
guys get out, you're like, well, it looks like any other Toyota dealership except the Nissan right in front of it.
And it
And the
wasn't
customer
even
parking.
It's not even a parking spot. That's not even a spot. That's where we merchandise vehicles. Okay, anyway, sorry.
Do we need to do this to let you know who you're dealing with?
We are the talent, okay? We are the talent. I don't know if you
So-
knew that yet or not.
Phenomenal segue into like who are you?
Yeah.
And
That's a
how
great
did this
question.
get started?
Can someone
Why?
else answer that for us?
Okay, so Kyle and I, different paths in the auto industry. I started a business. I got a job as a service advisor when I was fresh out of college, just because I never walked in a dealership before. I loved it. I loved the pace. I loved the energy. The dealer principal was great. I had a friend who was reconditioning cars at the time, and I was like, I think I can do that. And I bought Small Businesses for Dummies. So I didn't know anything about
No
it.
way.
Oh,
The
totally.
book.
I still have it.
So it worked.
I still have it. Did.
It did. Check that one off.
Apparently it did. I never really tied it back as like, that's really a good recommendation.
Well, then you're kind of
for that.
calling yourself a dummy at the same point. But anyway, okay.
That's part of being willing to start a business.
Yeah,
because I
you
feel
kind
like
of
a
have to be a little
dummy
bit of a
lot.
dummy, yeah.
And I built a reconditioning business that ended up being a regional business in the Northeast.
Wow.
Ended up serving about 150 dealer groups across the Northeast, and then also started making content about our company culture. Because that's what the business was built on the back of. I didn't know much about business, but I knew about people. So we just started going around with a camera and like a boom mic because it seemed like that was the official way to go.
And this is when?
2006.
Okay.
So I mean, like for all the kids out there, like I didn't even have
YouTube wasn't even a thing.
MySpace. Maybe was around.
I was gonna say, what was the social? Zanga back then?
Yeah, maybe.
Remember that?
AIM.
AOL.
Facebook.
AIM
Get out of
Messenger.
here.
Well, you had to have a college email to get into
That's
Facebook.
true,
That's right.
That's
So
right.
I didn't, and I didn't.
He said, "I didn't,
So
and
we
I
made videos about company culture, and people started seeing them. Like, who made your videos? We did, and they were like 30 minutes. Like, there was no YouTube, so we had to like burn them on DVDs to give to. Oh yeah,
So you're the guy like passing out your mixtape. Here,
Here's
check
my
out my
truck.
I wish.
business.
Well, it was only the people that worked for the company, so it was
yeah.
like there's about
No,
50
that's cool.
of us in the
That's
end. It ended up getting acquired by Dent Wizard International,
Yeah.
and I
Nice.
leaned into building an agency. Wrote a book called The Automotive Manifesto, talking about brand and auto retail, and saying how like they should realize they're important together. And then COVID happened. Building an agency, COVID happened, and no one was really connecting.
Yeah.
And there was no one like I knew of automotive news, but I didn't know them. And so I was like, I'm gonna have a live stream on LinkedIn. And I got a couple of members of my team, designed a logo. I said we're gonna call it Automotive State of the Union, so that people will be tricked into thinking it's official. And you know what that's like,
Branding,
right?
I mean, it's
Right,
true.
it's branding, baby.
And yeah, the logo, it looked like the presidential. I was like, make stars flying in.
Yeah,
right?
right.
But I asked people if they'd be on it. And right from Rhett Reichert, who was the chairman of NADA at the time, all the way through all these dealers that I either knew through a relationship or not, everybody showed up. Thousands of people showed up to this LinkedIn live stream. And it was all glitchy, LinkedIn Live. Just it looks
was
like
so
we
bad,
produced it from a bunker.
Yeah.
And so kept doing that. In the meantime, so that kept doing that. Kyle will tell you how we came together, but decided to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And before you know it, we started. Decided to partner up on it. Got some raised a small round of funding from 7 dealers who we believe that the people first mentality is the way to go.
Yeah.
Turned it into an official company, and we're about 3.5 years in on this.
So my background is the retail side of the industry. So I started selling cars in 2009, like the second to last week of Cash for Clunkers. I think like
Good
this
week to come into it.
Probably
is.
about the same week that Trey Roman started. So, so I sold cars for about 2.5 years, then was in management, worked my way all the way through marketing and operations, and was doing training and operations and marketing for a small group out of Tennessee and Oklahoma. And you know, my all of that, like I was a sales manager, open store, finance director, was running marketing, running group BDCs, like got a really good look at the entirety of the dealership. Yeah. And I never turned a wrench, but I did rewrite entire service processes. And so I know the service side of stuff too. And there was a moment, well, at this point, a little over 3.5 years ago, that I just realized like, hey, because of this experience, because of what I see about the industry, because of what I'm watching out there, Paul and I had met through LinkedIn and some other like online social type stuff.
So you guys never had business relationships?
No,
We
not
never
at all.
even knew each other.
Yeah, I think we met like 7 months before I ended up quitting. 7 or 8 months.
Wow, it's like swiping right on LinkedIn.
It was
It
straight up
pretty
swipe right.
Pretty
You were
much.
watching the live streams, though, I hope. Like, you kind of knew what was going on.
I mean, I think we had connected on LinkedIn like maybe 5 or 6 months before
crazy,
the live streams, and I watched all that, followed it, all that type of stuff, and then.
Yeah, he left the store, and we were like, we'll do this consulting thing together.
Yeah, we were going to do consulting for marketers because we were like, oh, they're the heartbeat. We were good
remember
marketers.
That? We were going to build a train. We're like, hey, who trains your salespeople? Sales trainers.
Yeah,
Who trains your marketers? Hey, let's build a marketing training.
That's what we thought we were going to do.
That's what we started doing.
Yeah.
I love that so many people leave automotive and they're like, consulting's my next step.
Exactly
That's where I'm
right.
going.
Because it's when you realize if there's no solution,
Yeah.
there's a lot of money to be made in prolonging the problem.
Yeah.
Right?
That is such a good point. I love it. Yeah, the way you put that is like
consultant's
dead on,
credo.
right?
Yeah.
Totally.
That's how they do it.
So we just like we saw what we knew is we saw eye to eye on how the industry should be, right? Like the heart behind the industry, the way to do business, and all this. Actually, it's funny. So before I left the Nelson organization, we had transitioned to a single point of contact, meaning no finance managers, also no BDC. The salesperson was the entire process, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then a one price store as well. So that, and then we had totally transformed our service department as well. Video, texting, like every single technological thing that you could do to enhance the customer experience there. And as a non-commissioned dealership, and like I believed in that, and I started like preaching that belief on LinkedIn and all this type of stuff. And so I can't remember, but I knew he had written a book, but I was like, some guy wrote a book, right?
Joker.
It wasn't for Business for Dummies.
Yeah, it wasn't
It was
for
that
dummies.
good of a book.
So he's like, "Have you ever read my book?" And I was like, "No, I actually haven't." Well, I'm like, I think at this point we had decided we were going to do something together. I was like, "No, I don't think I have." I can't remember if it was like after I quit the dealership or right before, but he sends it to me.
I think it was after.
I think it was after I
Which is
quit.
the best
He sends
way.
it to me, and I'm like reading it, and I'm like,
Did I
"Wait
write a
a
book?
second, did I write a book?"
That's crazy.
And it was like all the stuff that I had been working through for the last 3 years, the very same way that we were setting up the dealership, and a lot of that was coming through what I was doing. So, so that's then, we quickly then realized we tell this story. Well, I think we only maybe told it once or twice, but
I don't know if recorded.
we're at Digital Dealer, and we had like a side event where at this point ASOTU was still a hobby, and I was just like, well, we're doing this other business. I'll
we
pitch
were
in
pretty
and
much
help
on a
out,
Zoom
right?
call all day.
Yeah.
And then I was like, he was like, I have to make this stuff for this side party we were having at Digital Dealer.
Yeah.
And before you know it, we're like, I think we just spent all our time on that.
Literally all of our time for like 2 weeks planning this party. We get there, we do this party. We speak to a room of marketers the next morning, and we're both looking at each other, and we're good at speaking. Let us just be clear about that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you are.
freaking
Kyle's
great
good at
that
humility.
You do it a lot. So
Humility.
No, but we're in this room with like, it's packed. They shut the doors. And we're like, what are we even doing here training marketers, right? I don't know. Like, we still love marketers, and we still love training them. We
way.
still think that's like a massive part of the business, and I still have a lot of relationships with these people. But we're looking at it going like, hey, this is much bigger than what we have. And then
awesome.
that night, we go to just if you ever try and go find this place, don't. Okay, we're at the Harrah's across the street. It's like the oldest Las Vegas place. And there's a Ben and Jerry's up an escalator to the left.
By that old lady that's been working there, vacuuming the floors with a corded vacuum.
She's still vacuuming
She's
today.
there all the time.
She's still vacuuming.
Oh yeah, she's like, making
we were
sure
like-
the cord's out of the way.
All we wanted was ice cream, and so we go and we're like kids just walking through Las Vegas,
Licking ice cream
Vegas.
cones.
We're just
No one
licking
else
ice
has
cream
ice cream in
cones,
Vegas.
and we're dreaming up this thing that is a media thing that can push back and draw people together, and the way that like literally we're standing blocking all of the traffic going to this digital dealer party in this massive hall, like
Meanwhile,
eating ice cream.
everyone's dressed to the nines, walking or like in dealers and their
was great.
dates, and like and we're just like,
So that was
Shout
like,
out Ben and Jerry's. We need a sponsorship.
So that was the birth of like the official capacity of ASOTU right there. So
that was
Over ice cream. What
Over
flavors?
ice cream.
Always
Do
over
we
ice
know?
cream.
always over ice
Do
cream.
we know what flavors?
I'm pretty simple. I'm like chocolate. Oh, I had chocolate.
I probably had cookies and cream. Which is what it is.
So if anyone wants to go see it, there is a plaque there at that Ben and Jerry's today about it. Or?
Absolutely.
It's a gold hat.
Our feet,
You
our feet
gotta
are
find
stamped
it.
in the Well, that hotel's getting torn down. We went to it last year.
Yeah,
so.
they were like, we can't top that.
Yeah.
Story.
Just bring it down. That's
Bring
the
her
end of
down.
it.
So what's it like to jump from a job into being in a business with a guy that wrote a book? What was that like?
Very important. I had
Super important
author,
break.
speaker, entrepreneur, motivator, right? All the titles.
You have all the titles,
All
so.
the titles. Yeah.
He got you hook, line, and sinker.
Well,
did.
it's weird because
author?
like, and we've created this thing, and we both have other ventures too. But one, if you'd asked me even 5 years ago if I was ever going to be an entrepreneur and do something on my own, I'd be like, you're crazy. Like, I'm good. I've got a career path with this dealer group. And so the entrepreneur thing, like that's a whole podcast on its own. But I think, the beauty of the way that like we work together is we have a very similar worldview. We have a similar view about how to care for people, how even dealership operations, right? We still work with some dealers today and work with them on like how the operations should run. And so it's really just a lot of fun. Like we always are like, when do we get to see each other in person again? Because we're 12 hours away or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the weirdest thing is, so I spent 12 years in dealerships where there's a structure and there's a process and there's, financial stuff set up and the HR department takes care of that and all of those things that like, you're like, okay, so you're telling me we have to pay what tax this quarter because of why, and it's
You
like
guys are HR. You're everything.
yeah,
Right?
and so it's like this whole different. You're like trying to build this innovative, exploratory, wild thing that nobody's tried before in our industry. All alongside of like.
Like I'm the only one that can fill out this form right now.
Right. Yeah. Can't I send this to someone?
Kyle, we need to hire. We need to hire. It's time to grow.
Who?
again.
Somebody.
wild.
Somebody. I can't do this.
So that's super fun. So like just the business relationship plus like all of the, you think the entrepreneur life is just this sexy, cool, like build something cool, but you have to sign the tax forms too at the same time.
Oh, it's
Lights all in. Yeah.
So let me ask you this
terrible
question then,
and fun.
because I know obviously that leap is huge, and now that you guys are together, entrepreneurs, you mentioned that like you're really trailblazing in a lot of ways, stuff that hasn't been done in this industry, stories that need to be told that haven't been told. I'm sure there's been times along the way where it's like, is this too much? Should we stop doing this? Like, what keeps you going in those moments?
I think, I had at one point, because I'm so important, I had a business coach.
Hey, we've had business coaches
Yeah,
too, so
okay,
we're
okay.
prepared.
The problem is
You
our
are.
business coach is Trey's father-in-law. So
Well,
it's
you
kind
didn't
of
have to tell him that part.
Stop. All right. This is my wife. But, yeah. I have to consult with my business coach. Yeah. Right.
tonight.
No. So, it's terrifying and fun all at the same time. I'm trying to remember what you asked me.
What keeps you going through those
Oh, yeah,
moments?
so-
yeah.
I asked him because I'm the kind of person, and I think this is just the nature of an entrepreneur. You always see an opportunity, and you think in terms of white space. You think in terms of something could be better, and I could fix that if I had the time, including whenever I go and buy like from a small business. I'm like, oh, just give me a couple of days in here, I could revolutionize this
Yeah,
business, right?
You
Especially
just
if it's a good
always-
business.
It doesn't matter. You're
Doesn't
always,
shut off.
Yeah.
So you always see this, and I asked my business coach, I said, how do I, like, can you help me figure out what things I should be stopping doing? Because you hear that, like, it's not what you do, it's what you stop doing. And so I thought, like, that was the right question to ask my business coach. And, like, I want to show him how smart I am already because I don't need a coach. But, you know, but basically what he said was, he goes, all the stuff you're doing, he's like, you need to stop thinking about what you should stop doing. You just spend your time thinking about how can I make all the lanes move in the same direction. So that really helped frame up what it is that is, you know, my world. And Kyle has, you know, like Kyle said, we both have our own ventures. His is in tech, mine is in brand marketing, and a bunch of other things, right? This More Than Cars Automotive State of the Union ASOTU umbrella that is really founded in this belief that, like, leading with the importance of thriving people and getting together the dealers and the people in this industry that believe that thriving people are the center of what this industry could be.
Yeah.
And if that umbrella just naturally attracts like-minded people and they see it and they start to think that way and operate that way, we want to attract people from outside the industry to say, this is a place we want to work. And all of that, and seeing the other people that are doing it, coming here and visiting you, and seeing this group do it, and seeing groups all over the country that, you know, this industry, you hear about billion-dollar groups all the time. You're like, I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Right? They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And so the ones that start to come to the surface that are like, yeah, we believe that too. We believe that too. That really is the motivation to keep going, because More Than Cars is, I think, a legacy that can live 100 years from now. And people will look back and be like, if it was ever pulled out of the industry, that we would be lacking. And that's really what we think about. And Kyle has this wild dream about his kids and working in the industry. That I think you should share that, because
Well, I'll share that in a
fired me
second.
up when
But
you said that.
like, just to be really clear, ASOTU's had those moments already, and it's just less than
Today.
3 year, right? Where it's like, and that's the bank account, right? Like that's the
Didn't have that
reality
one
of a
today.
startup. It doesn't matter, and even like the bumpy ride of having a small team, right? If you ask any one of our team, they'd be like, yeah, we've had some tough times as a team.
Yeah.
It's only 10, 12 people that don't get to sit in the same room as each other and have those water cooler moments where spread across the country. Like, that part of building this business has led us to, like, pulling our hair out sometimes, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, we've had the conversation where not just in the future, if ASOTU or More Than Cars wasn't here, would it be missed? I think that we're at a place where it would be missed if we weren't here, like, tomorrow, right? And that's both daunting and really cool at the same time, that we get an opportunity to kind of like call those people, that we've called those people together, and they say, yeah, we're a part of that. Like, you hear so many people like, yeah, I'm a part of ASOTU. And that's something that's so powerful to us, because it means that it's less about two guys in flat brims, right?
Yeah.
It's about a center of belief. So,
like,
but-
there's dealer groups now that are buying these shirts.
Yeah.
We're selling them with the dealer group name instead of ASOTU.
That's
like,
cool.
Dealer standing up. And so, like, my dream is that, like, we need 100,000 of these shirts on dealership, people that remember the priority every single day.
Yep.
And that's just a little element of it. But
I was
that is
I was
the
going to
heart.
buy the black on black one, but it was sold out on the website. Just
Hook
FYI.
you up. I'll hook you up.
So-
I know fulfillment.
we know a guy.
Yeah.
So my dream.
Real glamorous, by the way. Author, speaker.
Yeah.
Merch maker. Yeah.
T-shirt stamper.
I'll do that.
So my dream, and it's quickly approaching now, 3 years into this thing, is that when my kids are graduating high school, and so we've got 7 years to go to my first one,
I'm
right?
getting older fast.
It's quick.
Gotta hurry up.
Is that when they're graduating high school or college, that they're going to their guidance counselor, their mentor, their friend, and they're going, do you know anyone in the automotive industry that can help me get in? Because I've applied to 8 dealerships, and it seems like they're not hiring. They're filled up, right? Or I've applied to those tech companies, and it seems like they're filled up, that the wait list is too long, right? Yeah. Because my guess is that if that's happening, we've not just radically changed the employee experience or the knowledge of what it takes to be, or what it is to be an automotive employee. We've actually radically changed how the consumer perceives doing business with an automotive dealership.
Yep.
Because people want to do business. People want to work for places they want to buy from.
That's right.
Right. And so if we've done the hard work of making an automotive dealership industry that's so attractive to buy from that nobody has to do surveys of like, do you want to buy direct from the OEM?
Yeah.
Like they don't even have to do the surveys because it's just like, well, that's just the best way to do it. Clearly.
I think
even
this
on the
show
table.
is like case in point,
Yep.
right? One of the things that this show is accomplishing is showing people that you care about people, so they want to work here.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's been kind of the behind the scenes for us, was trying to find a way to, use social to be that avenue, to kind of pull the curtain back and say, here's what we're really doing. And you may not like this, but we want to communicate it because that's where we're at in a business. And one of the things that comes to mind that I got to ask, having you guys here, is like, you guys talk about growing the business from you guys, the head of the snake, let's use that. How do you bring somebody in when you're like, oh, I got this idea? Passion goes so far, but to get somebody to change their life, and I'm sure these are people have relationships with, just like on LinkedIn, and that leap of faith is there, but it's only a 3-year-old business. Like, how do you get somebody to say, you know what, I'm in, I'm going?
What do you mean? To work?
Yeah, to come work
Coercion,
for you guys.
ice cream.
I was gonna say, Ben Jerry's is great, but it doesn't get it
You
done
can be
for
on
me
a
and my
podcast. You can work for an
Yeah.
author.
Yeah.
T-shirt stamper.
Yeah. We can make a T-shirt, black on black. To this point, at this point,
Yeah.
the people who like when we've just hired a few positions, and it becomes very attractional.
Yeah.
And this is where you see the effect of that, which is when you tell people what you believe and you put yourself out there and you make content. The people that are aligned with that are the ones that apply, or even when they apply, you can tell there are like stakes implied. Like they're in this process and they're like, I hope they pick me. It's not just like a normal job or like I want to get the job.
Yeah.
It's like I hope they pick me.
Yeah.
Because you know what happens when you make content. People see you and they feel like they know you,
Right.
right? But they also know who you are if you're that kind of person,
Yeah.
right? We're
Right,
like same
right, yeah.
person, on the mic, off the mic, at home,
Absolutely.
at work. And so it becomes actually very easy
Yeah.
for people to attract people because
For sure.
they want to be a part of that.
How long did it take? Because that's the second part of the question, right? To what you guys said, like that was the mission. It was like to attract better talent, attract, retain, develop talent. So like going this route, how long were you putting content out before you felt like, oh, it's switched? It's now going downhill.
Well,
It's not like
so-
we're talking somebody into making a jump, because that's kind of the automotive space still today. Like we know it's shifting. Us who are in the automotive space go, look, it's happening. And even an event like last night's a great opportunity with our trunk or treat to show people like, hey, our community's different. We sold 2 cars yesterday that didn't pay for the event.
Right.
Didn't?
So yeah, right.
Yeah.
So by all means, like that was the priority. But how long was it for you guys? And I know every journey is different.
It's just like anytime you try to convince someone that brand marketing is a good idea.
Yeah.
You're like, you're not going to see a result right away. You're not going to see
Yeah.
it 30 days, 60 days, maybe 90 days, definitely in 6 months, definitely in a year, and in 5 years, it's going to make a massive difference. I started making content, personally speaking, probably seriously 10 years ago. And that came with putting out trying a lot of things on social. I had a podcast that went almost 200 episodes, and I've taken a year off. And I just did the hustle.
yeah.
Right?
So overnight success.
Making what, just like that. It was
You posted
easy.
one video, went viral. We're
People
done.
loved it.
That's why we're
I
here.
did nothing but
views,
fan
done.
mail. My mom would text me every week. She was how I knew if I forgot to upload it.
Is that what it was?
She's like, I didn't see your podcast this week. I'm like, oh crap, I forget that. That's a real story. And so you never know how long, right?
Yeah.
And I think that most people that you see that aren't like viral for something, I mean, I don't want to offend anybody, but just something dumb.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can make a noise with my armpit. Oh, it's the armpit
Yeah.
noise guy, right? What I see on Jimmy Fallon, somebody was going boom.
Oh yeah, the
Oh,
Costco
yeah,
guys.
Costco
Yeah.
guys.
it's-
Is that who they are?
Get them off my algorithm, please.
Yeah, whatever we
get
have to do
off
to
my
get 'em.
algorithm.
I was like, but it's one of those things where it's just like, it's like bubble gum. It tastes good for a second, no nutritional value, and brand is the opposite of that. So I don't know how long it's going to take, but longer than you think.
Yeah.
And if you can't commit to doing 100 of whatever it is, 100 social posts and 100 podcasts, if you can't commit to 100, you're going to be disappointed.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love that, yeah.
I mean, I started creating content probably close to 5 years ago, specifically on LinkedIn. But there's also the practice of like just simply communicating with why as the center, right?
That's a big one.
That practice I've been working on since 2011, right? When I first saw Simon Sinek speak. When I first started thinking, oh my goodness, as a person that was still selling cars, I have to communicate to my customers differently, right?
Yeah.
And so then that practice got worked out in leadership and mentorship and training, and then it started to get worked out in the content we were making, and like that personal practice of communicating things from a position of why comes through even in that first interaction with someone that you're trying to hire. When you're like, if you're trying to force communicating with from a position of why, like they'll see right through that. But if you practice it and it's deep ingrained in who you are, then that part comes a little bit quicker, right? The the attraction to the why of ASOTU, definitely. I mean, yeah, we're at 800 and some odd podcast episodes on just our primary podcast, over 100 on another one, and it's like over,
It doesn't come any easier. So.
5 to 13 social posts a day across our team, like, and we're still like, we're not Jimmy Fallon,
not even close.
So,
right?
Yeah. I think that's so powerful. The why is where I think you and I both talk quite a bit off camera of like where we still see the success.
Yep.
Like some of our best episodes, even this or social, it's like, wow, no one viewed that.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, but that was the best one.
That was the
we've done
hot
so
one.
far,
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And
Always.
it probably got a lot for you.
Yeah,
like it meant
exactly.
a lot for you.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's the genuine part that we look for. And I love that encouragement from you guys. I love that leadership journey. I think in wrapping it again, what's kind of the future, the short version of it? Like, where do we see the next 3 to 5?
Short version of the future is everything we've done, but now with a focused intensity. So daily email, like we're seeing, even after 3 years, we're seeing now open rates in 50 and 60% on a daily email to thousands of dealers and industry partners every day.
Yeah,
Didn't
it's
start there.
massive.
Right, and it's a just quality audience, and we're always focused on that. Our one big event every year, ASOTUCon, which is going to be in May this year. Like we are dialed, locked, and loaded. We have a pre-sign-up list that's hundreds of people long. Right, first time we've ever done that. And we have an NADA partnership now at the show this year, so we're going to be kind of on the big stage, if you will. Yeah. And so, like, what is it? It's the entrepreneur in me. Like I don't know. Like, it's almost like I don't know, but it is, I feel like we're hitting a point where getting more people into the community that say, like, I'm willing to do this. I want to hand raise that I believe in this. Like, the only number I have is, like, I want to have 100,000 shirts on people in the industry next year.
Breaking news,
Well, get them back in stock.
Gotta get them in stock.
I think you're going to see. I think you're also going to see.
Sounds like you guys gotta go home and start printing.
You mean you really want one now? You can't wait for it to be back in stock?
I mean, no, I can't. I want to buy one. I want to buy one.
Yeah, see,
I
brands.
want to buy one. See,
I
they're
do. I
begging
wanted
for them
to
at
buy
this
one.
point.
I think the other through line that you're going to see is we're going to move more and more toward the more than cars branding and narrative, right?
I love
Where
that.
is fed through all of our, as the media network expands between shows and podcasts and emails and all of that, you'll see that as a through line through every partner that comes on board, all of that. And I think we might lose some people because of that, because maybe that's not that's not the brand that they wanted to align with. They thought it was just like a facts and stories thing, right? And our through line is that it's about so much more than cars.
Those are heartless people.
Yeah, heartless people.
Well, what I loved it, and I think what hooked me in the beginning, when I first found you guys, the more than cars, it like sparked my curiosity of like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right. Especially being a part of an auto group like this and seeing other auto groups, we're like, I know what that means. But to get that message out there, I mean, I'm a huge fan, guys, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. And I don't know, anything else you want to cover or say or?
I'm just proud of how spiky both of your hair is. It's quite impressive.
We did it this morning together. You guys could have that opportunity. You just have to take the hats off.
I would buy a hat too, but
And on that note, cut it, Logan. Cut it.
like, comment, subscribe.
That was awesome.